Come down. Ooh, you make my high come down. Always tripping when you come around. Never have to cut you out like right now. You see, I don't have to drive me. You can say that for your mama. Maybe you should smoke some. Me try to marijuana. I was never you good. The vibe was straight. Showed you a couple of things and they feel strange. I treated you right. Everything was a gift from a time to your bag and the color on your lip.
Welcome to the Seahawks Man to Man podcast powered by Blue Wire. Shout out to the new company. My name is Michael Sean Dugar. You guys can follow me on whatever Elon Musk is calling that app these days. My at name has not changed. It's also right there under my necklace for those who are watching and listening via YouTube at Mike Dugar. Speaking of YouTube, like, subscribe, review, comment, all that good stuff. Please do it on our YouTube page. Seahawks Man to Man is the name of the channel. Seahawks Man, the number 2 man. That's also the name on Instagram, also the name on TikTok. Please show us some love on those apps as well. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Leave a review, like, all the good buttons. You guys know. Whatever the kids are doing on those apps, please do it. Thank you, thank you. Chris, go ahead and talk to him.
What is going on, everybody? It's your boy, Christopher Kidd. You can follow me on Blue Sky and Twitter at CKIDD206 and that's CKID206.
Chris and I are coming to you. Well, I'm here, but you guys get the point of what I'm about to say. We're coming to you live from Jacksonville. Chris, we're going to change the spelling of that for the purposes of the show. That is Jaxonville. We are doing that because, Chris, we are currently watching the best receiver in football. We are currently watching the deadliest duo in football right now, which is Sam Darnold and Jackson Smith and Jigba. And they are the Seahawks are 4-2. They beat the Jags 20-12. 9th straight road win. Seahawks are 10-1 on the road under Mike McDonald. 4-2 through 6 weeks, and a tie for first place, I think, with the Niners, Rams. Everybody's 4-2 in the NFC West, so they're a good team. Blah blah blah. I would say that the number one reason that the Seahawks have all of those marks, at least the ones that pertain specifically to 2025, obviously, because of the connection between Jax and Sam. Chris, this is ridiculous. There's nothing you can do with these guys. Like it's just so impressive to watch these guys. What did Jax have today? Oh, you got it at the bottom of the screen. Look at you, producer of the year. 8 catches, 162 yards, and a tug. Let's say that again. 8 for 162 and a tutty. This is some special stuff here. This looks very similar, not with the same volume, but just in terms of connection, as what we saw last year from Joe and Jamar in Cincinnati. Just unreal. I got you, you got me. No matter what, we're gonna connect. I don't know if we talked about it last year. Maybe we did a little bit, but the AFC North was on Hard Knocks last year, and I remember there was but if you guys watched it, you could see it was fascinating to see the in-game or the discussions during the week between the coaches, particularly whenever they're about to play the Bengals. Like they were every week, like, hey, we got to stop number one. We got to stop number one. Look how good number one is. It was the coaches with the clicker and everything. They're like, yeah, see, look, they like to do this and this and that. We got to make sure number one don't kill us. And then every week, Jamar was going out there and doing whatever the hell he wanted last season. Their defense was trash, which is why they weren't good. But you could see that teams they know what's up. There is someone, Chris, every week when the Seahawks get prepared to play someone, the other team has someone in a other colored jersey wearing number 11, mimicking all of his best routes, all the concepts that they like and they've shown on film, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't. He kills everything. Man, zone, underneath, except when it's a screen, intermediate, deep, don't matter. Like I thought this connection would be good, Chris, but I am legitimately blown away by how effective it is without a run game and without a consistent number 2. At least with the team like the Bengals or even the Vikings last year, it's like, okay, well, we can't dedicate too much to Justin or too much to Jamar because they have T and they have Jordan Addison. I feel like teams could guard Torrey and AJ and Cooper and, try to take away Jax. No, they're doing none of that. Through 6 weeks, we're watching the best tandem in the NFL.
Yeah, he had 2 routes a day. He ran the same route twice and was open, and it was an out route, but a lot of people call it the blaze out route because of what he does at first. He sails an inside move, like he's running a post and then breaks it back outside. He did that twice to number 2, I believe, and he just left him in the dust and was wide open on each one. It wasn't as if there was a tough catch. He was wide open as if he was playing warm up. He was warming up by himself, doing the route. That's how open he was. There was no one near, and Sam Darnold just delivered a strike. And another nod to the offensive line for having a good day in pass protection, something that in previous years you might not have said as much. They suck in the run game. They're not as efficient as fans and the offensive coordinator and the whole entire team would love for the Seahawks to be. But when it comes to throwing the football, it works out just well. Play action pass, JSN, touchdown. Just runs by the cornerback. Don't know what he was doing. Maybe looking for safety help. You still shouldn't just get ran by. And Jackson, we had our criticisms like, hey, he's not the fastest guy. Well, he said, how you like that? Just running by dudes and scoring touchdowns. And then, as you mentioned, his ability to go underneath outside of screens. Yeah, I know. The first play of the game, really. Getting the ball into his hands is
Literally
not a
the
bad
first play. Literally the first play, Chris. A screen. Literally the first play. Can you imagine working all week on the game plan and that's what you run the first play? You kidding me, Kubiak?
Yeah, I don't think that was great. I understand you want to get in your best player's hands, but I think there are far more ways. You can have him do a curl route. You can have him do a slant, which he's running a lot now. I think since we talked about him, whether or not he's running slants, I feel since then he's ran at least 2 or 3 slants a game, and he's been money. Getting over the middle, catching it, getting down, or getting yards after the catch. He's been really fun to watch, and the tape is just going to prove that yet again because he went for 8 and 162 and a tug. So this young man is on the scene, and he's going to, I think, continue this as long as guys, if he can stay healthy and Sam Darnold can have that clean pocket. I think he's just going to continue to have phenomenal Sundays, and we're probably going to get more and more questions like, "Hey, did you guys see this from Jackson Smith and Jigba?" And Mike, you predicted it. Off wax, you're telling me you're talking about, oh yeah, I think he's this and that. He's a better route runner than DK. You might have said that on the pod, and you're seeing it. You're seeing how he gets open on those routes and how much separation he has and his ability to just make plays. I think he had his longest touchdown reception of his career for 61 yards, if I'm not mistaken. I can imagine that number going up over the next few years because eventually that play action pass is going to work really well at 1st and 10 from the 20. And if JSN can just outrun whoever it is and beat the safety over the top because they don't know what's going on, I think that's going to be huge. So it's a really impressive performance again from JSN. And as I mentioned, I really think that he can continue to do this. And it'll be interesting to see how he does that because through 6 weeks, he's arguably, if not the best receiver in the NFL. Now, obviously, Puka Nacua, he went down with an injury, so that didn't help his case. But those two are neck and neck, and they've been balling out this season.
Yeah, let me put some numbers on that. You know, I love to do that. Before we get to the questions. Yeah, Jax leads the league. I put this in my story too. That's out. Jax leads the league with 696 receiving yards, 16.6 yards a pop, which is ridiculous. 3 tugs. Puka, who, like you said, got hurt today and returned to the game, has 616 yards, 2 tugs, also killing it. Like Puka and Jax, like you said, they're right there. They're killing it. Looks like Emeka got hurt today. I read. I didn't watch that game, but that's why he's a little bit lagging. But no one else has more than 600 yards, so it's just those two. George Pickens, who apparently is Randy Moss now, has 525 yards and 6 touchdowns. Oh my God. Yeah. If you want to make a case for another deadly duo, it's probably Dak and George. Those guys are killing it right now as well. I haven't watched much of it, but yeah. Jax, though, another number to put on this. Jax is averaging 4.49 yards per route. Guys, I'm here to tell you. I don't know if you guys are into these nerd numbers or anything like that. That is bananas. All right. That's just a bananas number. All right. Let me put that in perspective. So last year, the league leader, remember, Jax is at 4.49. The leader last year was Puka at 3.57. That's I think damn near a full yard. Yes, almost a full yard better. Jax is on right now. The year before that, Tyreek led the league. You see how big play dude he is. 3.85 in 2023. Like anything in the threes is crazy. Anything in the fours, and you're like prime Jerry Rice. You know, so this is ridiculous with Jax. is doing on the efficiency. He's doing it, and Sam is just on the money. It really looks like they've played together, Chris, for forever. You would never think
Yeah,
these guys met in March.
that's true.
It's kind of nuts. Like the route you're talking about, the blaze out, like that requires timing. You know, the
Yeah.
deep shots against too high. Um, yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy stuff. It's going to be put to the test next week against Houston, the best defense in the league, who has probably one of the best corners in the league, and Derek Stingley Jr. We'll get to that with the homie DJ in our preview. But for now, man, yeah, we're watching something special, and one of those things that I'm not even sure the players and coaches will tell you they knew this was coming, but I don't know about that, man, because Chris, we weren't seeing the deep ball. We weren't seeing this in practice at all.
Well,
we were seeing like the occasional deep ball, but this is bombs away every week.
I think it's the DK Metcalf effect of that. It really truly is. They don't have DK now, and the defenses that come in and play Seattle, they're thinking, oh yeah, over the top, we're good. And then he just runs by guys. Or he does a double move and creates separation, laid hands, makes a great play. Next season, they're going to treat him like DK. They're going to be cloud coverages.
They better do that next week.
Oh, obviously. But my biggest thing is like, I think every week a new team is like, oh, he's really like that. Not knowing that the Seahawks believe that he's like that. Jackson knows that he's really talented and can do these things. But teams coming in are thinking, bro, he's 5'9", barely 200 pounds. Is he really that? Is he really a threat? It's not that he's running a 4.4 or 4.3. That's not his speed. But every time there's a shot, guess what happens? It's a big play, and it's him making the play. So something's adding up. Oh, I know what it is. Teams are sleeping on him defensively, and he's going out there and reminding you, I'm really him. So I think it's just going to only continue now, especially if they get the run game going. If K9 and Zach Charbonnet can find some balance and consistency, I think his numbers could be even better, because now you can't just sell out on one specific thing. That opens up other areas where you can get beat. You stop the run, and they still throwing across the field and doing his thing. And Sam's getting, as I mentioned earlier, getting great protection. So I'm interested to see what happens against the Texans. But for right now, yeah, as you see on the post-game show on our YouTube channel, I changed it to Jacksonville 12, Seahawks 20.
Yeah, no, that was crazy. We're witnessing crazy stuff, man. He's got like, I got to do a story on him for Monday Night Football. Hopefully that comes together. But yeah, like Jax has like, he has Tyler's ball tracking ability because they both return punts, and Jax played baseball, which just helps with that. He's got DK's deep passing threat, and then he's got like Doug's route running. Like he's like the best modern Seahawks receiver is just put in a little pot, stir it up, and you get it's crazy. I didn't think it would be like this. I knew they'd be good, but damn. And it's not even like they need a number two. Look at every week you can just look at the target distribution. Jack's had 13 today. No one else had more than 3, and it didn't matter. Like I'm not sitting here thinking, Sam need to spread it around more. Nope. Like that's fine. Do that every week because it works. It's just ridiculous stuff. But yeah, let's get to our voicemails. Let's see what you guys got.
Hello, gentlemen. This is David Law from the UK. One is, given you felt Sam Darnold was likely to be a downgrade on Geno Smith as a quarterback, have you changed that view now they're third of the season through? And that one moment where he was sacked in the second half, do you feel as though that is still a vulnerability? It seemed to me that Torrey Hort was open if he'd have seen him quickly enough, or if he'd have maybe not panicked and got it over the rushing defense. What do you think? Thanks very much. Your show's fantastic. Love you guys.
Appreciate the love. Thank you. No, I haven't really changed. I haven't changed my stance on that. I'll make this quick so you can get in here on this too, Chris. I think that the Seahawks have actually, they rolled the dice and got a little bit lucky. And I think in this way, I don't think the Seahawks thought, and I think it was reasonable not to expect the quarterback that they've moved on from twice now to be as bad as he was in the new spot. Like, I don't know what Geno did today. He probably threw another pick because apparently he just does that every week. Oh my goodness. They won. Good for them. So they won. But I don't think anyone expected, including the Seahawks, for Geno to be as bad as he's been in Vegas, just like they didn't expect Russ to be as bad as he was in Denver. And I don't think that had Russ stayed here, he would have been as bad as he was in Denver, in Seattle. Especially if they wouldn't have been able to give him the same tackles because they needed the trade to get Charles. But just like if you would just swapped Geno and Russ in 2022, I think Russ would have been fine. Russ was fine in 2021 in this system too. And so there's that. And then I don't think that Geno, I think if Geno was in this system playing with these guys that he knows, including Jax, like Geno's connection with Jax was very good too. It was great. Like they had the Bills game without DK last year, and that didn't go well because the whole team was bad at that time. In the next game, Geno and Jax put up like Rose Bowl numbers against the Rams. They would have had more if Mike Jarrell and AB didn't have a bunch of penalties. Like even in that game, I think someone next to me, I think it was Greg in the Bell in the press box was like, "Is that Jax's career high?" I think he had 150 yards at the time, and I was like, "No, he put a $180 on the Rams. That was with like 60 yards getting took off for penalties, right?" So I say that to say, Geno and Jax could probably do this too, and we've seen Geno ball without a run game. And if Geno was playing behind this pass pro, like you said, has been very good, I think he'd be fine. And I do think there's value in guys like staying where they're at sometimes. I think it's hard to go somewhere new and be the same guy. We even seen Aaron Rodgers struggle to do that, which is why Tom Brady's the GOAT, because he just went to Tampa and was like, I'll just go win the bowl. So I still think that if Geno was here, he'd be able to do what we're seeing now, because this looks like the 2022 team, basically. So, yeah, there's that. I don't know where you're at on this, Chris.
For me, I figured Sam would come in and do really well. Well, not really well. I thought he would do fine. I thought the expectation for him was just, it's handmade for you. You just have to come in, don't turn the football over. And if you do that, the Seahawks will be fine. And so far, the Seahawks have gone over and beyond with protecting him, and he hasn't been turning the football over. He's just not getting one other aspect, and that's the run game. So I kind of figured it would be this way. I didn't expect him to be throwing this much, but for the most part, I think it's pretty well balanced. Like, I know sometimes we'll get a question like, hey, why are they continue to running the football even though it's not working, blah, 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 or certain situations where maybe they should have done this play or ran it this style. I don't see that as much. I'm more of, can he continue to do this despite the run game? Can he continue to have games where he throws for 250 plus yards and a touchdown, and they still are productive? Because if the run game doesn't work, they're still going to run play action out of it, because it's just keeping the defense honest. And you saw in a couple of play action fakes on Sunday against the Jags that linebackers come up. On Jackson's crosser, I think in the first quarter, they wanted to stop the run. Two linebackers come flying up the field, and then Jackson's right behind them on a deep crosser, explosive in a first down. They can continue to run that despite the run game being bad. My only concern is Sam going to continue to be, is he going to be effective enough to not turn the football over? No fumbles, interceptions, just those things, those mistakes. Or maybe, as you talked about last week, well, he actually mentioned in the press conference, him seeing a specific play and then not being able to flip out of it and calling it correctly almost resulted in a loss for him. A comeback opportunity. He didn't get the ball. He didn't read the coverage right, or the blitz that was being sent on his offense, and he misread it, and it resulted in an interception. Those are the things that I'm thinking, okay, can he figure that out? Because I'm sure he's going to have another game where it's, hey, can you deliver? The defense isn't having their best day. Can you deliver? 2 minutes left. You're down 6. Need a touchdown to win the game. An extra point wins it for you guys. So that's kind of where I'm at with it. I thought that he would be fine. And a downgrade, that was a tough one. I know Geno can ball. He is a really talented quarterback. This year, not so much. But if you're looking at last season, I thought he was just in a really difficult situation with Ryan Grubb, which we've talked about ad nauseum. So it's just one of those things, as Mike mentioned. It's just unfortunate for Geno that he's playing this bad and Sam is playing so well. But again, it's all about consistency. Can Sam continue to play this way? And trust me, he's going to have a game or two where it doesn't look that good, but it's how is it looking? For instance, Trevor Lawrence on Sunday against the Seahawks looked awful. He was missing just throws left and right, throwing to receivers over their heads, throwing it in the dirt. If Sam has a game like that, that's where I'm thinking, okay, it's not interception. He's just off target on Sunday, and that happens. But when you're turning the football over and giving the other team extra possessions, that's where it can hurt you. I don't mind the mishaps, the misthrows. That happens. But he's been accurate this season. He hasn't been turning the football over despite not having a running game. And JSN and him have a really good relationship. And that second part that Mr. Law asked us about in regards to that sack, I have to go back and look at it. I know it was in the second half, and the vulnerability there, Torrey Holton, he was open, and maybe Sam did miss, but I think that's just a small example of missing a read. I mean, he was only sacked once, I think, on Sunday against the Jags. So the Seahawks, again, as I mentioned earlier, did a really good job in pass pro. So I'm not going to look too much into it. For the most part, though, it would be nice if other receivers do get other opportunities, because there will be a time where maybe teams just lock in on JSN and try to shut him out completely. But it seems so far through 6 weeks, Jax is really, really good, and Sam is playing really good football as well.
I watched the replay of the sack. I'm actually looking at it now. Yeah, it's a bad read. It's a misread. That is. Torrey's open right in front of his face. I think that what happened was Sam was taught to read that out, like read the out route first there, because he missed the out route last week to Torrey. Coop, he probably could have hit Coop on the out route too, by the way. I mean, the corner squatting there, but if you laser it and step into it, he'd probably get there. But yeah, we missed that. And I think that's going to happen sometimes in this scheme, because the Jags sent the house. I think they blitz, like, looking at this now, like 6 guys. And so this offense, as we've talked about on the show, is not a. There are times when Sam can like bring in extra help in terms of blockers, max protect, but it's a lot of the offensive coordinator telling you, hey, if you're hot, there's an answer built in, perhaps 2 answers. It's just your job to find it. He just didn't find it. The answer was Torrey. I think it could have been Cup too. I got to see the all 22, but Torrey was definitely just wide open right in his face. I don't know the read, but he's got to find those answers on that. And you see that happen sometimes in this scheme. You see that happen with Brock Purdy too, when he plays well in this scheme too. So I think that's what happened there. But yeah, nothing's changed on my opinion of Sam relative to the Geno swap. But credit to Sam, because he's playing worlds better than Geno is right now.
Hey guys, Steve from Spokane. 2 questions for you. 1, what has Ken Walker done to fall out of favor with Clint Kubiak? Because he was virtually non-existent in that second half. 2, was there a strategy change for the defense that resulted in the pressures actually getting converted to sacks today? I know we all love to see it, but was there something that caused it? Thanks, guys. Love the pod. See ya.
How did the rushing numbers? Let me see how this broke down ultimately. Wow. Zach out-carried Ken. Jesus, how did that? Oh, he got the 3 carries at the end. So before the end, it was 8-9. Is that what? Oh no. So wait, he still would have had more. No, it was 9. It was 10-9 in Ken's favor. So that's what tipped it over the end. So 3 kind of meaningless carries got Zach higher, but still 10 attempts for 34 yards for Zach, or for Ken. Excuse me. Yuck. 12 carries for 24 yards for Zach. Also yuck. That's disgusting. Yeah, I think they're really never going to give up on, not I think. I know they're never going to give up on the 1-2 punch thing. They want what Detroit's on right now in the background here on my TV Sunday Night Football. The Seahawks want that. They want what do they call themselves in Detroit? What's their nickname for each other? It's like Sonic and Knuckles. It comes with Sonic and Knuckles, Gibbs and Montgomery. They want that here. Seahawks do, and they're not going to give up on it. They're not. I just don't see a game where healthy Ken, man, unless he's like really killing it. But even then, we just saw that in Pittsburgh, and they evened it out again. Like if he's really killing it, maybe he gets to 20 carries, but I don't think he gets there. I think that they're really committed to trying to get both guys hot. I think that's always been the plan. I think it's going to continue to be the plan. Perhaps the plan to a fault. I'm not saying it's a good idea, but I think that's going to be the plan. And I mean, some games just won't matter. Like I just read the numbers. Ken averaged 3.4 yards. Zach averaged 2. And Zach took some L's there in the final carries when they're trying to bleed the clock out for the field goal. But sometimes it won't matter. But guys, I just there's some things that we're gonna always disagree with the coaching staff about. Screen passes, running to the right. It seems they should give up on the toss play. Just there's some stuff, shotgun runs. So you can add the things that the Seahawks man-to-man, at least on the screen passes on my part, object to that the Seahawks do. Add to the list balanced offensive carry distribution. We've been saying for a while here on this show, Chris, when the blocking is there, Ken is an all-world type talent. When it's not, you can't go nowhere. Right now, they don't care all-world talent or not, blocking or not. Ken and Zach gonna get the share of this pill. Why? Here's the answer. The answer is they want to make sure both guys are fresh for the duration. They don't want to have Ken 20 carries. The next thing you know, he's got a hamstring or an ankle or shoulder, whatever. That's kind of their thought. They also just want to get both guys. They want to feel like there's a rhythm with both dudes. Like, okay, here you got to deal with Ken. Okay, boom, then here's Zach coming right at you. Again, that's the plan. I'm just the messenger on that. I think that's a bad plan. And not just because I got Ken on my fantasy team. Actually, I have Zach on one of my teams too. So I don't really care who touches the ball. But that's the plan. Thunder and lightning, Sonic and Knuckles, whatever other peaches and herb, whatever. Like that's what they want Ken and Zach to be. Will it ever get there? Find out next time in this episode of Dragon Ball Z. I don't know. And as far as the defense, I kind of felt like this watching the film for our one big thing and just for our standout play segment. I really didn't feel like the defense was in trouble because of talent. It really felt like the issue against the Bucs was just everyone knowing what they were supposed to do. So that's why when they busted the coverage, I believe that was Shaq's fault on the touchdown. I asked him, he just said it was miscommunication, which is fine. I think he's supposed to just carry Brian Thomas. I think they're in cover 3. But when I saw that, I was like, oh, here we go again. 2 guys just not knowing what they're supposed to do, right? And then I was talking to Shaq after the game, and he was like, yeah, we cut down the playbook a little bit, fixed some stuff at halftime, and we realized, like, if we're getting them in obvious pass situations, let's just man up and cover these boys. And I was like, makes sense to me because I like zone. Zone makes sense in some instances. But it's a lot simpler than zone. Man-to-man. This ain't the zone-to-zone podcast. It's the man-to-man. Because it's sometimes real simple to say, hey, when I used to coach flag football at Pullman. He's coached like 8 and 9-year-olds, and I coached the 9 and 10-year-olds. 2 separate seasons. We ran man. You know why? Because it's real easy to tell a kid, follow that person. Wherever he runs, you run. Or she. It was co-ed. Wherever she runs, you run. Simple stuff. If you got people who can do it, run it. And you could see I have to watch the film, but that was what Shaq had mentioned them doing in the second half. And that's how, some of the pressures get home. Because, it's very rare that guys were just getting like mossed or just cooked on routes. It happens here and there, but the Seahawks don't got a bunch of DBs that are scrubs. They got guys who can cover. It's these busted coverages and zones that they're having issues with. That's why Mike McDonald says, screw it. We can cover these boys. Travis Hunter is just tall Tavon Austin. And then Brian Thomas is their only guy. So let's roll. And that's exactly what happened. So I think that's one of the reasons that they were able to turn up and get, 17 million sacks on Trevor Lawrence today.
Hey guys, Jacob from Vancouver here, celebrating our Canadian Thanksgiving with a Seahawks win. Just wanted to ask you guys about the offensive identity. Before the season, you talked a lot about how they're going to run the ball and what the question marks were going to be in the passing game with Darnold, with explosive plays down the field. Well, 6 games in, and they still can't run the ball consistently. But the downfield attack has been really good. It seems like every game there's a deep ball to JSN. There was today. There was the one to Barner that locked up the game. So I just wanted to ask you guys about if you think the identity is changing or if they're still committed to being that run-first team and are going to find a way to figure that out before the end of the year. Thanks, guys.
Chris, did you know there was a Canadian Thanksgiving? Did you know that?
I do now. I did not know that, but I do now.
Yeah, I just Googled it. Yeah, let's see. Monday, October 13th, 2025. Yeah. Annual Canadian holiday held on the second Monday in October. Wow. There you go. Who knew? Well, I guess everyone in Canada. Thank you for the question. And the information about the holiday. Did not know that. Their identity has not changed. They're going to try to run the ball. I'm sure you guys felt them trying to establish their identity in the fourth quarter when they were just trying to like bleed some clock and just for nothing, just couldn't. It was so bad watching them trying to run their like 4-minute offense when they had the ball in the fourth quarter. It was really bad. But they're going to keep trying that. And then when Robbie Oots comes back, which I think he can. When can Robbie come back? Robbie should be able to come back. I think this week.
This week.
I think I heard against the Saints, if I remember correctly. So that means 1, 2, 3. Oh, he probably has to miss the Texans game. So when they get Robbie Oots back after the bye, I think that would be they're going to get right back to that 21 personnel, 22, and just running the ball, playing with a fullback. So no, I don't think the identity has changed. They're just doing what they got to do to get the ball to their best guy, and it's very obvious that is number 11. And kudos to Clint for that. And I do like that he's still trying to run the ball, particularly in that fourth quarter. Like, it would have been really nice, Chris, if they had got the ball. Let's see. What was it? Whenever Tim Patrick, who this was another instance of me learning someone was on the team in real time. I was like, who's number 17 for the Jags? Caught the touchdown. Like, that's Tim Patrick. How long is Tim Patrick on the team? I didn't think he was still in the league candidate because I think he's fairly young. I think they just blew his knee out a bunch in Denver. I just didn't know where he was. So kudos to him. But when he caught the ball, after that would have been a perfect time because they were up 8 at the time with like 11 minutes or some change, I think, to have like one of those 7-minute 4 third down conversion, finish it off with a touchdown drive to go up 2 scores, put the other team in obvious throwing mode, and then just kind of put the ice in it. It was like, nope, 3 and out. Next, 4 and out. Next, I think another 3 and out or something like that. And so they're going to keep trying to run the ball. That's not going to change their identity because they know that as much as they love what Sam is doing right now, what were they on third down today? It was a really bad number.
1 of 10. I didn't count the 1 of 11 because they were just running the clock out with Zach Charbonnet on that last drive. So I marked them down as 1 of 10, which is,
Yeah, so they're 1 of 12 in the book, but you're correct in that one of those is a 3rd and 12 run by Zach to set up the field goal, and then Sam nails it down on third down, technically. So yes, that's how you get to 1 for 10, which is awful. You're very rarely going to win games when you're 1 for 10. Why were they 1 for 10? In part because they can't do anything on early downs when they run the rock. And so I think the only sack came on like 3rd and 2, I want to say. So a down where you can run the ball. But I can see why Kubiak was like, nah, bro, we should throw this to Jax probably, which is no lie. If Clint goes to every down, like, we should throw it to Jax, I'm not going to talk him out of it. Now, like, you can definitely tell Sam, hey, look, if no one else is open, or if 11 is not open, throw it somewhere else, but start with number 11. So no, their identity's not changing. And nor do I think it should, by the way. You got to have some type of balance. Sam's not just going to keep doing this with no run game. Eventually they will lose. Because like Chris said, sometimes the defense is just not going to have it. Or sometimes they will have it, and that's still not enough. So they got to figure that out. They have to. I think getting Robbie back will help quite a bit. I think it will. I think, I don't need to go deeper into that. But yeah, I think having Robbie back will help a lot.
Hey guys, this is Ross from Mill Creek. Happy to get the win today. Boy, Mike McDonald was absolutely cooking, scheming up some pressure. The defense, secondary is another story, but the defensive pressure was amazing today. But my question for you guys is on the other side of the ball. What do you guys make of Clint Kubiak? I can't really seem to figure him out. At times but then he just goes on these stretches where he just makes these crazy calls, like just goes into this conservative shell, and we can't figure out the running game. It's like no matter what they try, it just doesn't seem to work. So I can't tell. Obviously he's better than what we saw last year, but boy, if they can't figure this running game out, I just don't know how we're going to survive come December and later in the year. So anyway, let me know what you guys think, what you're seeing with him. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I was okay, I'm gonna try to make this quick. So I think Chris and I have talked about it. If not, I think the perfect combination in the NFL right now for a franchise's like long-term stability, short-term and long-term, is to have a offensive head coach or a head coach with an offensive background who also calls your plays, and then your defensive coordinator is a failed head coach, like a Brian Flores Who else is like Dennis Allen in New Orleans is that. I don't think their situation is great. Probably Spags and Flores are probably the two best examples. Oh, and then Robert Saleh and Kyle Shanahan in San Fran. So I think that's the best setup. I think you can survive with a defensive head coach who also calls the plays and then an offensive coordinator. But the tricky thing that we're seeing is it's going to be hard to retain that guy. You know, if he is good, chances are someone's going to hire your OC because that's where the league it has gone. When we say it's going, it's there now, right? So you run into that issue. I mean, look at Todd Bowles. Like he has to replace his OC every year. Todd Bowles coach in Tampa. D'Amico Ryans is on his second OC already in like 3 years, right? He had to fire the other guy, and the current guy he has stinks too. So, like it's going to be tough. I think the only way to find the perfect match for a guy like McDonald is an OC who's like good for what you guys want to do, but not quite good enough that someone will poach him. That's Kubiak. I think actually this is it sounds weird, but I think this is actually ideal for the long-term stability of the franchise. I think Kubiak's good enough that the Seahawks in any given year with him will probably have anywhere from like the 7th best offense to like the 13th, which is great. Because if it gets higher than that, it's probably out of here. He gets lower than that, it's also out of here. And I think that's the world you got to live in. I think because I just think it's hard to find those failed head coaches who are also OCs who are then good enough to the point where they're elite for your team, but then no one wants to hire them. Like I think, for example, Cliff Kingsbury is going to get another job. I think, I think that if Mike McDaniel, when he gets fired in Miami, which is going to happen, when he goes somewhere else and becomes the OC there, calls the plays or whatever, someone will give him another shot, even if it's just like 10 years from now. Like, I just think those things are going to happen. Whereas I think it's a lot easier to think like, man, Robert Saleh is probably going to get stuck with this for a little bit. No one's going to hire Spags. Maybe someone hires Brian Flores. You guys get the point. So I think that Kubiak is a good OC. I thought that coming in, and I think that now. And I think that him trying to establish the run, even when the pass game was working, it's fine, like we just talked about. But I actually think this is like long-term a pretty good positive for them. Also, I don't know if you guys watched Clint Kubiak's press conferences. I don't know if you have, Chris. That does not scream head coach to me. That's like talking to a wall. Like I skipped this joint last week. I was like, I got better stuff to do. Like I really do. And told my editor, it's like I'm not watching this. He doesn't say anything. It reminds me of Shane Waldron. It's like, you might be a good offensive mind, but boy, you do not galvanize the troops at all. So I think that works in their favor as well. And I say that to answer the part of what do you think of Clint? I think he's good OC. And I actually think he might be long-term that little happy it reminds me of Bevel a little bit too, where it's like Bevel kept having good offenses here and was like, anybody about to hire Bevel, be their OC. To be their head coach. So I think this is kind of the world kind of got to get used to is a really good offense, but not to the point where someone's like, all right, Clint Kubiak has 7 head coaching offers lined up, that I think that's a good thing ultimately. And I think him trying to establish the run is very good too. I don't think that's being conservative. I think that's being balanced. You got to be able to run the ball or else Sam will eventually die back there.
This next one is from Gendalus. Sticking with the run game, why aren't the Seahawks running it more to the left side of the line? It seems to hold up a lot better.
I think, Chris, that's one of those things that the fans see, that we see, that after today, Clint Kubiak's going to be like, all right, boys, where's all the play? How many times, and you don't got to always run it to the left. The goal is how many times can we run it behind our good players? That's what you got to figure out. How can we do that? And I give an example of how you can manipulate that. Last year, remember that Cardinals game in Arizona? They had a lot of runs to the left. Doesn't mean they were always running behind Charles and Lakin. Sometimes they were pulling Saltawa and Abe. You can manipulate that however many ways you need to. So I don't think you got to necessarily always run to the left because that's stupid. Defense watches tape too. I do think, though, however, they need to maximize running behind the good players because I did not see a replay of Zach's third down carry on 3rd and goal. I think it was 3rd and goal from the 4. I saw it in real time though, and I like gulped. I was like, oh God, like this is bad. And I was like, huh, who got beat on that? And what do you know? 75. And I don't think he's the whole problem with their run game. That would be unfair to him because no one's doing a great job or they'd have better numbers. But it became real obvious there in that second half. It was like, if you guys do want to get some yards, run behind 88, 67, 76, and then mix 10 in there. However, whatever direction you need to run to make that happen, do it. But it became apparent in the second half there. And I think that it's one of those times where sometimes what the fans see, and you know this, Chris, from watching the tape, sometimes what the fans feel doesn't either match up with the numbers or the tape. I think this is one of those things that matches up. Oh my goodness. There were some bad runs today to that right side. Some stuff where I was like, do you guys like Zach? Like, why don't you block for him? I really felt that way. So yeah, I think I would be surprised if they keep hammering the same runs they try to run to the left, just with the guys on the right, just as is, with no motion, no nothing, no pullers. That would I think Clint should be smacked in the back of the neck. If that, well, maybe I don't want to encourage violence, but you guys get my point. Like, he should have a stern talking to, because I think with the sample size is large enough to see how they can really get the run game going, and it's not by doing what they were doing for most of the game today.
Speaking of Mr. Bradford, next one is from @Rosebug_22. Is Bradford really their best option?
Deep sigh. Should we trust that Kubiak and Benton and Justin Outen and all those guys know better than we do, Chris, on this? Because I mean, at some point, I'm feeling like, is it the end of the world to trot Olu out there, to trot out a what would the line be? Charles, Gray, Olu, Jalen, and whichever positions you want to put them, and Abe. It can't be that bad, right, Chris? It can't be.
I guess the question is, what is practice showcasing? Because if they've run that and Olu's not working out, then yes, Anthony Bradford's your best option. It's very rare that you have just some good guard ready to play. It's kind of how that works with the offensive line. You don't get that lucky. You don't have backups that are just that good, because if they were that good, guess what they'd be doing? They would be starting. So, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they do give it a shot. Hell, on one of my standout plays, on a toss for K9 or Zach Charbonnet. We talked about it was actually Abe Lucas getting beats, never mind. But back to number 75, who's been struggling, and as Mike saw it real time up in the press box, that's really rough. You don't need the tape to say, wow, you got beat there, buddy. Something's got to change. And it's been pretty rough for Mr. Bradford for some time now. This isn't season one of him struggling. He's been struggling for the most part through his career. He's had really talented some really good days, but he's had, I think, a lot more bad days. So this is one of those things where I guess you're going to have to try it out and see what happens in practice. And if practice, Olu, or maybe putting up, I don't know. That's a fun one, Mike. We're going to see, won't we?
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing I'll say that's the coaching staff would probably say on or off the record is, in the preseason, we did see the best version of Bradford that we've ever seen. And I can understand them believing, hey, that guy's in there. It's on us as coaching to get that out of him like we got in the preseason. I can see that. I do. Because you got to believe in your guys to a certain extent, you know. So, and I can actually buy that explanation, because I mean, I'm watching the tape in the preseason. That's a good player, you know, on those tapes. And there's been some plays this year. It was like, oh, okay, he's fine. But it does feel like we're not seeing that same guy, you know. And sometimes it is just a matter of how can we get that out of him, you know. I think that here would be my suggestion before we move on to the next question. I think in the preseason and in the summer, one of the reasons we got the best, they, you know what I mean? I ain't on the team. But one of the reasons the Seahawks got the best version of AB was because he was in a competition. Was because it was like, hey, we got other guys. We drafted a bunch of guards. We're putting other guys in the competition. Christian Haynes, who I think can come off IR now. Cable Do, whoever, Mason Richmond. And I think that helped light a fire. It did. Maybe you do that again. Maybe you say, hey, 55, 75. That's Olu and AB. Line it up in practice. Best guy plays against the Texans. Maybe you do that and see. If you still get AB out of that, that's fine too. But I do think that helped. And maybe that would help. I don't know. Doing that in season is a little tricky, but I don't think it can hurt in this situation to roll the ball out, 55, 75, line it up. Best dude plays against Houston, or coming out of the bye week, best dude plays against, I think Washington is their next game. Yeah, roll it out. I'm cool with that. That would probably be my suggestion.
This next one comes from Josh Royce. Charbonnet's running issues, a him problem or a blocking problem?
I think it's a blocking problem. It's a blocking problem for both of them, to be very clear. I got to read the numbers again. Zach, 12 for 24. Ken, 10 for 34. Neither one of them is LaDainian Tomlinson back there. Like, it's bad for both. The Seahawks are just bad at blocking the run. Like, I don't think it's running back specific. I do think Ken's just a better player and better at making something out of nothing. But even Zach today, I can't remember which run exactly, but there was one today where that easily could have been a loss. And Zach turned it in, I think, like again at 2. Like, nothing crazy.
Oh, yeah.
But you know what I'm talking about? You remember that? Yeah. I have to
2
find
defenders were in the backfield, and I don't know how he did it, but he did it.
Yeah. Let me see. What's Zach's yards before contact per rush? Zach's at, oh my God. Yeah, this is disgusting. Okay. Yards before contact per rush. Ken is at 1.82. That is that's one of the best marks in the league. Okay, let me take the quarterbacks out of here because Justin Fields and Jalen Hurts are at the top. So that's 6th in the league. That's yards before contact, which is really like how well they're blocking for you, right? Of the 41 running backs who qualify for this metric in True Media, right? Chris, where do you think Zach ranks in yards before contact per rush?
39th.
You are close. Zach is 41st, the worst. And I don't think that's because Zach is blind, right? I really think that is a blocking thing. Why some of the blocking is so much better for Ken, I'm not sure. Like, I expect Ken to be higher than Zach in that metric, but not that much higher. He's 35 spots higher. That I really don't think the gap between the two is that bad. I really think that that's a blocking issue. And again, the blocking is inconsistent for both guys. Like, neither guy is really killing it. Let me see where they rank in percentage of runs that go for 0 or negative yards. Let's see. Oh boy, look, Chris, I'm just toying around with this. Looks like they're probably going to be at the top of the league. Minimum 25 carries. This is the percentage of runs that go for 0 or negative yards. Of the 50 running backs that qualify for this, Chris, I think you can guess where Zach ranks on this.
Last.
Yes. Well, he's number 1, but yes, last. Yes, it's same thing in this instance. He has the highest percentage of carries that go for negative yards or 0. Ken's 7th. So it ain't like Ken's getting that much better blocking on the whole. So it's bad for both. They need to fix it for both guys. And I'm sure the film will bear that out too. But just statistically, that's kind of matching what I'm seeing. Ken breaks one here and there, so it helps. Zach just doesn't break the one. And otherwise, the blocking is substandard for both guys.
Nate Ramirez asked, it seemed a lot of the Seahawks' explosive plays came off play action. How do the Seahawks balance sticking with the run game when it's not producing direct results?
You have no choice but to keep running it. You really just don't. You don't have a choice. I can't stress that enough, particularly Chris, because they don't have a screen game. That would be the only other reason that I'd say, okay, you can kind of just let it rock and use the screen as an extension of the run, but I don't think you can do that. Actually, I know you can't because they're not good at running screens. It is so weird. It's this curse, no matter who the OC is and no matter who the DC is, because Chris quietly, they're a really bad screen defense team, by the way. Statistically, I'd have to look at it after this game and after this week. But coming into this week, I had Mike Sando, my colleague at The Athletic, check my numbers. They were like one of the worst screen teams in the league. They were giving up the most catches up there in yards per catch. They had given up the most yards on screens. Like, screens are the way to beat these guys. And the Jags hit some today, actually, until DeMarcus Lawrence blew up one, and they were like, all right, let's not run that screen anymore. It's the same screen Boye blew up in week 5. Clearly, they know how to scout that look. The other looks, though, they were able to get them on. So, yeah, they don't have an extension of the run game. You can't just be pure drop back all the time. You can't just also live in the play action world without the run, because eventually team's just going to run blitz you, and Sam's going to be a sitting duck back there like he was on that 4th and 1 against Pittsburgh where he threw a pick. So you just have to keep running it. And as much as I don't think there's a ton of value in just running into brick walls, I've talked to enough defensive players and enough offensive players to understand the emotion, the human part of playing football. They have to run. And like, you need to give your O-line a break. They can't go backwards all day. And I've talked to enough defenders to say we can tell when a team is giving up on it. And that's when we just really get busy with our calls. That's when we get busy with our coverage. That's when we get busy with our blitzes. So they've just got to do it. I don't really – it's really – we've done this before, Chris, where it's like, oh, what's the answer? Skate better. You know, that the Disney movie Brink, where his mom just told him, why don't you just skate better? And he was like, oh, my God, you're right, Mom. Skate better. That's really, unfortunately, what the Seahawks it's come down to. It's take the tosses out, stop, find better guys to be your point of attack blockers, and block better. Those 3, that's a lot of 3. That's actually a lot, but that's where they're at, and they have to keep doing. They have to keep running it. The minute they turn into this grub offense, Sam will start looking like Geno. I guarantee, safest bet in football. They abandon the run, become pass first. It'll get ugly. It'll get ugly very quick, starting against the Texans.
This next one is from RG Seattle. What do you make of the relationship between Sam and Jacksonville? It's starting to feel similar to Russ and Doug Baldwin.
Yeah, I think that no, I think it's actually stronger than that. I think Doug and Russ was good, almost like reluctantly good, because Doug learned to be good at what Russ was good at. I think Doug would have benefited a lot more from an offense like this that was like play on time, trust that the ball's going to be there when it's supposed to be there, you know, because they didn't have that. Like all those receivers in Seattle, even though they put up numbers, the film says it, they say it, the numbers say it. They had to learn how to play 2 plays at once, basically. It was like, all right, here's the play as it's called, and here's the play when Russ starts ad-libbing. Now, no matter whose fault that was the reality. There's not a lot of – there's some ad-libbing in this offense, but you can see it's a lot of Jackson runs the route, the ball is where it's supposed to be. Even some of the ones that were incomplete today, they hit Jackson in the hands. Or like I think number 30 made a couple good plays on the ball today. But it wasn't like they had to do a bunch of improvising. That's not really what this offense is. A lot of, all right, here's the landmark, here's the route, here's what you do based on this coverage. Hit it, the ball will be there. Sam needs to hit his back foot, look, throw it, boom, on time, accurate. That actually reminds me a lot of what Geno and Jax had. Because Geno was like that too. Geno can improvise, but I feel like his improvisation skills showed up more in his connection with Tyler. Whereas when it was time to throw on time, it was like number 11 is open. And then him and DK, when it was time to go deep, Geno was one of the best deep ball guys in the league last few seasons. So that relationship, yeah, actually reminds me more of Geno and Jax than it does Russ and Doug. Because those guys, even that 2015 season when they tore it up, it's still a lot of improv, a lot of like spin around, you know, then find you deep. You know, that's not this offense. This offense is look at Jax's plays. I don't think any of them. Can you think of one, Chris, where it's like huge improv?
I don't think it was in this game, but I think so. I know he did one against the Niners, the Saints.
Oh, he won against the
one,
Saints.
I believe.
Yeah, in the first drive.
Oh, I think I think it was just the Saints, if I'm not mistaken. Now that I'm trying to look at all.
Yeah, on the first drive, his first catch. Remember? Yeah, against the Saints, rolling left.
But outside of that, it's just bang bang.
Yeah, it's hit the back leg and 11's open. You know, that's where this reminds me a lot of like Jamar and Chase too. It actually reminds me of actually it looks like a lot like Stafford and Puka too. Now Puka and Stafford do some improvising as well. Those two are locked. They are locked in. It looks like they did a Mormon mission together. Like they are just brothers. That is crazy. but they are largely on time too. Coop and Stafford were like that as well, just like on the same page, seeing it the same. It reminds me more of that than Russ and Doug, but it's just a really good relationship. Like those guys are locked in.
This next one comes from Adam the Redhead. Seems like this offense needs another pass catcher. Should the Seahawks have kept DK Metcalf?
It's a good question. Should they have? I mean, I guess like I said with Geno and Sam, I think also DK is playing well in Pittsburgh, from what I can tell. I haven't watched him a bunch, but I mean, him and Rodgers have a good connection. I think Sam, DK, and Jackson, this offense, because then you really got a problem. Because then you got two guys who like to block. You got two guys who like to block now, and then you got two guys who can take the top off. Oh, man, look here. That's how you get busy. That's how you get what they were doing last year in Minnesota, or even what they were doing last year in Cincinnati too. Because that, some special stuff. But I mean, if you wanted to go, you can get rid of them. But yeah, I think that it would definitely be a little bit more lethal for sure. I don't know if Jax would be doing all this, but I think it would probably balance out. DK would be better than what Coop's doing now. Like Coop's fine. He has some good plays today. But it would be like super dangerous stuff. Like it's not just me saying that because I think DK was a good player. The organization knows that too. The plan was not hire Kubiak and then get rid of DK. The plan was to have Geno, DK, and Jax in this offense. And then some stuff happened. But the plan, at least when Geno was out, it was like, man, if we'd have had DK in this joint too, this would have been crazy. And then DK was like, get me out of here, which is fine. But so the organization agrees with what I'm saying too. They were just like, we'll be fine without him. But they was like, yo, 14 and 11 together in this thing? Nah, that would have been cold. We'll see. The person who asked that, ask me again after Christmas. Let's see. Or even at the end of the season. That'll be an interesting one to see because I do think these very clearly number one centric offense, I do think that has a ceiling. And the ceiling can be high, like we saw with the Commanders last year. They were basically just throwing a Terry. But I think that has a ceiling. I think you do, to make those deep runs, you are probably going to need a really good 1B. So we'll see how far they get with this kind of Jackson and then everybody else offense.
This next one is from Brendo Pretendo. JSN, breakout season. He's on pace for 1,900 yards this year. Are the Seahawks going to just save the extra cap space just so they can pay him more than Sam next season?
Yeah, John Snyder says that it's a mandate from above him, not like God, but like Jody Allen, that they don't want to give guys new contracts when they have more than 1 year left. So that applies to Jax because, like Spoon, he will have a 5th-year option. I forget what the number is on his 5th-year option. I think it depends on if he makes the Pro Bowl or All-Pro or something like that, which I'm sure he's on pace to certainly be an All-Pro. So what's going to happen most likely if John sticks to the mandate from his bosses is that Spoon and Jax are both going to get their 5th-year options picked up. And then they'll both play next year pretty cheap and then get paid after next year and probably make like, what it'll be. What's the receiver cost right now? The top of the market's already like 35 mil. Yeah. So by then you're looking at maybe like 38, whatever. Because Puka can get paid already because he wasn't a 1st-round pick and he's in Jackson's class. That's not even if you count the Chargers if they decide to pay Quentin Johnston, they shouldn't. Zay Flowers getting paid or Jordan Addison getting paid. Those are all guys from Jackson's class too. So I'm just trusting Snyder's word on that his bosses said don't do that. So then that means Jax are going to get another cheap year out of Jax, which is great. But then he'll cost like $40 million on the back end. Spoon too, for what it's worth. Then we get another cheap year out of Spoon, and then he would cost like $40 million or whatever as like the highest paid corner in the league or something like that. But those are good problems to have because that means you hit on both your 1st-round picks. I think that's like good team problems. The Ravens have the same thing. They're hitting on Kyle Hamilton, Linderbaum in the center, like hitting on multiple, hit on Zay Flowers, hitting on multiple first round picks is fine. Like pay your studs. That's cool. But yes, they're gonna get very, very expensive here in a little bit.
This next one is from Axel MTG. Why are the Seahawks so inconsistent at closing games? They can be super explosive for the first half, then just go 3 and out for the rest of the game.
Easy. I can't run it. Okay, let me pull up and go to my notebook. I like to do the Blues Clues when he goes to the I watch a lot of Blues Clues. Yeah, I got small kids at the crib. Let's see. So when did they get the ball after the touchdown? After the touchdown, the Seahawks get the ball with 13 minutes left. The score is 20-12. They run it with Ken, 2 yards. Under center, AJ Barner, 6 yards. And then 3rd and 2, that's when the sack comes. All right, cool. Then they force a 3 and out because Brian Thomas doesn't like Trevor. He dropped it. That was a bad drop. Did they show a slow-mo replay of the drop?
Yeah.
Oh, that was so bad. Anyway, not a Jags pod. So they get the ball again. Their own 35-yard line. 9 minutes and 11 seconds left is what I have. Hopefully that's correct. Under center run to Ken, 6 yards. Great. You're looking at 2nd and 4. Whole playbook open. Kubiak's like, all right, cool. A successful run. Let's run it again. Perfectly understandable process. Next run, loses 3 yards. And I think that's when Ken tried to bounce it outside. And if he'd have fell down, they would have gave him forward progress. But he runs over the guy and then still goes backwards. I think that's that run.
Yes, the DB hits him. That's correct.
Yeah. And then the next play is 3rd and 7. Sam has to throw throws the cup. Oh, Sundell, another hold, punt. So when you can't, look at these, when you can't run the ball, there's the issue. All right, let's do one more. Their own 7-yard line, 5 minutes, 44 seconds left. Again, the score has not changed. If you can bleed some clock, you're going to win this game. 12-yard curl to Jackson. Yeah. All right, cool. We got a first down. Whew, we can breathe. All right, cool. Back shoulder to Jax. Bad communication. I think Sam read that right. Jax didn't. And then, all right, cool. We got to run it at some point. We can't do 3 straight passes. Shotgun run to Zach. Chris, add that to the list of plays you throw out of the playbook. Stop running that. We don't do bad shotgun runs over here. So now it's 3rd and 8. And I think that's when they sent the house. And then Sam got hit and nearly got picked, actually. Oof, that was brutal. I think number 29 on the Jags is a double agent. I swear he could have caught that. He just watch the ball just fall right at his feet. That was crazy. But the answer, I read those out because the answer is you got to be able to run the rock, man. You got to be able to run the rock. And I think literally the first play on the next drive was the shot to Barner that ended the game. Kubiak said, screw it. let's just throw it. But I appreciate, I want to show that sequencing because that you got to see that from Kubiak's view. Like he can't just keep dropping back. He's got to keep the defense honest. And in those scenarios, he is trying to bleed some clock too. Again, if they were able to put together let's say they had 13 minutes left, right? You put together a 7-minute drive right there, get a couple first downs, score a touchdown, go up 27-12 with 4 minutes. The game's over. Basically, game's over. So there's value in that. And the problem is when you can't run it, you can't put teams away. I could pull up the Arizona game. It's probably the same thing. I won't do it right now for the sake of time. But the Arizona game was the same thing. They were up a very similar score, couldn't put them away. And eventually, the other team's offense gets paid too. They're going to eventually be able to move the ball unless they just have Spencer Rattler. So, I think they got to be able to run the ball. You got to. And I think it's important to keep that sequencing in mind because and some of those, Kubiak had the right idea outside of the shotgun run to Zach. Don't do that. But he had the right idea. Under center, these were some Ken runs in there. They just didn't hit. They have to hit. Otherwise, they're going to keep, I won't say blowing leads because they didn't blow a lead today. They're going to keep making these games closer than they need to be. I think that's fair to say.
This next one comes from Gareth. Did DeMarcus Lawrence make that much of a difference?
Did they talk about him on the broadcast today?
Surprisingly, they had a lot of issues on the broadcast, so we might have missed some things they said about him, but they didn't really say much about him. Even
what was wrong with the broadcast?
Sacks. It just went out a couple of times. They were having technical issues. So if they ever did, maybe we missed it. but I don't recall them really. I mean, I know he had a good day, but no, yeah, DeMarcus Lawrence another sack. Dealing with the injury last week, wasn't able to play. He's back this week. Generic stuff.
Oh, that was this one. No like graphics or anything. No little package together of his sacks.
No. They don't do that for 10 a.m. games.
Well, I saw they had some Jackson stuff ready. I did kind of see that in the little press box.
Well, he's
cameras.
killing.
Yeah, they had that. They had that ready. Oh man, Mark Sanchez would have been ready. Oh, I'm sorry, too soon. I think he was supposed to be on the call today. I think he was. Anyway, yeah, I think DeMarcus Lawrence makes a big difference, and I think that's part of why they couldn't get to Baker last week. I think it was just too much to ask Chenna and Boye to be their only viable edge rushers. I think they need at least 3 guys bringing the heat. They played Connor O'Toole today, played Mike Moe today, but like there's a reason why all offseason and all training camp, at least, I was really only focused on 4 dudes: Chenna, D Hall, D Law, Boye. That's the 4. They can get by with 3. You drop that number to 2 out of those guys, it's over. You can't do that. You need at least those 3. So even if they didn't have D Law and just had D Hall today, just swap those guys. I think they could have had a similar result today. But I do think you need 3. You need 3 of those guys. Because I think we're seeing, and it's not to pick on Boye, but we're just kind of seeing what kind of player Boye is. He's like a good pass rusher. He gets one-on-ones. Sometimes he wins, and then it's the sacks just aren't coming. It's not just because he's a bad player, but there's that extra little that you need to get there. You seeing it with Chenna. Sure, you're even seeing it with Murph. Murph is kicking butt right now. These interior guys cannot block Murph. They can't block Leo. In this game, I think D-Law benefited from some coverage sacks, but I think they all actually benefited from coverage sacks.
Yeah.
But yeah, the coverage was great
It was
today.
great coverage.
Yes, but I don't think it's a coincidence that certain guys are benefiting. Like, I don't think it's an accident that when the coverage is there, D-Law is getting home. Murph is getting home. Leo's going to get home regardless, but Chenna's getting home. Like, that stuff's not surprising me. So I do think it was big to get D-Law back. 1, because D-Law is a good player. 2, they just need at least 3 guys. They need at least 3. If it's just any 2 of their edge rush guys, long day. Long day against the bad O-line, to be honest. But even against a decent one, yeah, it's going to be hard. So when they got at least 3 of those dudes, I think they'll be fine. I think, let's assume D Hall doesn't play against Houston. I bet you it's very similar. When the coverage is there, like guard Nico Collins, you're going to get to CJ Stroud. I think that you're going to see a little bit of that on Monday night, because it's that trio there plus Murph and Leo. Then it comes together. When it's just Murph, Leo, and then 2 edge rushers that you can really count on, no bueno. And then add the coverage problems on the back end when guys aren't communicating, then it gets ugly. But if you just give these guys that extra little tick, it was a perfect example, Chris. I don't know if it'll make our standout plays or our one big thing, but like Leo's sack today, I think it was a half sack. It's perfect. You see T-Law. He wants Brian Thomas at the top of the screen. Can't get there. Has to hold it for extra tick. Boom, down. There was another one. I forget whose sack it was, but I'll go back and look because it made me tweet out about Josh Jobe. I think it led to the missed field goal. It was like, I think Chenna ended up getting the sack. It's just that extra little tick when the coverage is there. Certain guys can take advantage of that, and that's what we're seeing. Whether it's D-Law, Chenna, Leo, Murph, like, there's just certain dudes that they need. They need at least 3 of them edge rushers. And when they do, you can see similar production like we saw today pretty much every week.
This next one comes from the Big Ginge. With rumors of teams being needy across the league, how much of an edge do you think John is chasing right now? What is he trading before the deadline?
Man, I was looking actually around this week, like which teams could conceivably be like, all right, we got a punt on the year, which guys are available. And you could tell other people were doing that too. I think Schefter put out like a trade article. Like Ian Rappaport had like a trade article this morning. So everyone else is kind of doing the same thing. I think the Seahawks, I would be surprised if there are buyers for an impact player because they have needs that other teams have needs on too. Like the Niners are not going to punt on this season. They need help. They need help in a lot of places. They need a Bosa replacement, like replacement in air quotes. I saw it today. Fred's leg is cooked. Hopefully Fred recovers well. Now they need a linebacker. Right? Like that. So The Seahawks, I don't think they need edge help if D Hall's okay. Like his oblique thing is fine. If that's not, they need edge help. The Seahawks are still, it looks like Tyrese Knight got benched. I'm not really sure what's going on there. But if they continue to rotate who plays next to Ernest Jones, they need an inside linebacker. And there's not that many teams with plug and play dudes at these spots. I think they're okay at DB. They'll be fine. Once they heal up, they'll be okay. But yeah, needing edge, no one's giving away old linemen for nothing. You know, if you need an inside backer, there's a lot of teams that need all of these things. That's before Fred got hurt today. So I think that John, it makes sense for him to call around and say, hey, who's got some pass rushers if D Hall's not healthy? Hey, what's the inside backer situation look like? Not to say he can't pull off those deals, but there's a lot of teams who need that stuff. You know what really sucks, Chris, is that if they were healthy in the secondary, a lot of teams need DBs right now too. Like if their secondary was healthy, I think they would have been able to pull off the trade for the Ravens. You mentioned it too, and I shot it down. You were right. The Owe. You was like, they should trade for him. And I was thinking the other African they had. They traded
One
the
of them
African
is
you thought.
fine.
Yeah. Well, they probably trade both of them. But yeah, the one that you called out ended up getting moved. But the reason he got moved to the Chargers is because the Chargers gave them a DB in return. You know, they needed a DB. The Seahawks don't have any DBs to spare. Their injury report is DBs. Right? If they were healthy, maybe they could have parted with somebody, you know, even if it was as simple as just giving them like the Anthony Bell, you know, but they can't even afford to do that because if Kobe rolled his ankle in practice, they're cooked. Open tryouts for safety. So I think John's going to call around for the positions that I mentioned. Those will probably be the only ones that would like get you an impact player. And I think he's going to have some problems bargain shopping because there's probably going to be some teams that are more desperate for help at those spots. The Chargers filled their need, but I think other teams are going to be calling. Like I said, the Eagles could probably use some as well. Who else? The Niners team. There's a lot of teams that need pass rushers right now. The whole league, pretty much. Pass rushers and DBs. I think we're going to see some more movement there, and I'd be surprised if John can pull off one of his patented like, oh my God, how did he get these guys moves like he did with Quandre? Who was the other one he got, Chris? That was a steal.
Carlos Dunlap.
Dunlap for a 7th. Yeah. I think it's going to be hard to find one of those because of how needy everyone else is at those spots.
This next one is from Peter Quinn. Do the Seahawks look at bringing back linebacker Jordan Brooks?
I'm doing the hand rub right now for can't see on YouTube. Chris, I'm all for this. You know I love JB. This is a pro Jordan Brooks podcast. I don't know if that would happen. I feel like John has a good relationship with JB's agent. I forget his name. It's one of those like power agents though that has like a bunch of it's not Rosenhaus. I think it's Burkhart, maybe. Let me look that up. But I'm all for this. I'm all for it. Bring him home. Put him right next to EJ, Ernest Jones. Put him there. Put him there. He should have never left in the first place. But put him there. It pains me, Chris, knowing what I know about JB, how much of a tough, hard-nosed linebacker he is, how much he loves ball, how hard he works. It pains me to see him on a team with a reputation for being soft. Because that's just not him. It's just not him. That's like Quandre being on a team where the guys are known as soft, or like Michael Bennett, like KJ. Look, we just know these guys ain't soft, but their team is known as that. That's what the Dolphins are known as, whether you agree or not. They are perceived as the soft team. And Jordan Brooks not soft. He may not be the all-pro perfect linebacker, but he ain't soft. And he's on a team right now that everyone thinks is soft. He even said they were playing scared last year on Thanksgiving. Said it on camera. That was crazy. And he was right. So yeah, I don't know. I'll do some reporting on that this week probably, but I will be all for that. I think that's the move. I think you call the Dolphins and say, look, you guys are cooked. Just give us JB back. What's it going to take? You know, they can't ask for much, I would think. You know, actually, Chris, damn it. You know, it just popped up. What if the Niners call? Oh.
Got to beat them out.
Oh, you got to beat them out. You got to beat them out. There it is. That's the answer. John Schneider, you got to pick up the phone and outbid John Lynch for Jordan Brooks. Because I see no reason to keep JB there if you're the Dolphins. That thing is over. Get some draft picks, clean up your books, find a new quarterback, find a new head coach. Send JB back to the West Coast. Hopefully it's to Seattle, but I just realized that the Niners are perhaps more desperate for an inside backer. So we'll see. And you'd be reuniting JB with KJ Wright as a position coach. Oh, damn, Chris.
Sounds like it's gonna happen.
Yeah, but what do you think before we move on to the next question? You think
I think
JB gets traded? You think it's to here or the Niners? What you think?
Well, when the question came up, it made sense for him to return to Seattle just because of how things ended with Jordan Brooks. He was one of the defenders on this defense that on Seahawks with Pete Carroll, he's one of the dudes. He has improved each year. He was working on certain things, and you just saw the improvement from his play. He was getting beat on a lot of play action, ball whizzing by his head. The next year, he developed. He was able to get his hands on a few passes. And he was always a tackling machine, but he was more than just a tackling machine. He was able to read things and get to the ball. Just a really talented linebacker that had a lot of speed. You can line him up against a Christian McCaffrey and feel confident. Now, obviously, we know Christian McCaffrey is one of them ones, but with Jordan out there, you're like, okay, I trust it. If the pass rush can get there, I like the matchup. If not, then yeah, it's going to be a long day for him. But he just brings a lot of versatility to the defense. I think Mike McDonald plugging him in next to Ernest Jones, you got two dogs at linebacker. That just makes the defense that much better. But now you mentioned the Niners. I won't be surprised if the Niners end up getting him just because they are far more desperate. They're leading the division, right? Actually,
It's a tie with the
Rams.
It's a tie. I tweeted out the standings before we recorded. I think it's a tie, but the Niners have the advantage. I want to say.
Got it. So yeah, because they did beat them. So and this beat the Rams. That is. So I think they are just the more desperate team, and they need him more. Like they are running out of bodies. At this point, they could honestly wave the white flag and be like, "We can't play football anymore. We're just running out of bodies." It's just really unfortunate. So I think the Niners would probably get him. We'll see though.
Yeah, I'm looking now. Ooh, Chris, I got another one. Your boy Cody Barton. The Titans stink.
No. I mean, maybe he's better than what the Seahawks are offering out there on the field right now with Tyrese Knight and Drake Thomas. Because Cody being, I guess from someone that was always talking about how much he improved week in and week out, I mean, sure, bring him back. I don't think he could play much worse. And I think you have him next to Ernest Jones. That could be a productive guy there. But his pass coverage, he just wasn't all the way there, and that was a problem. There's a reason why the Seahawks were okay with not bringing him back.
Oh, wow. Looks like I'm looking at some coverage stuff. I'm not going to read it all now. Looks like he's doing all right. I have not watched Titans tape because
they stink.
I love myself, and I'm not going to do that. He's popping up where the good player numbers are. So, hey, maybe. But yeah, JB, that's the thing. That's the answer to that question. Sorry, we spent a lot of time on that, but JB, bring him home. That's the move, John.
This next one's from Ryan Land. How impressive was this for Mike McDonald defensively?
Yeah, I think, very, very much so. I mean, guys, I was texting my homie about this, actually, post-game. I was like, what Mike McDonald's been good at in all the games except the Bucs, really, this includes the Niners game, is making the opposing offense look a lot worse than they actually are. The Saints aren't as bad as they looked in Seattle. They're not. Go look at all of their other games. They're basically putting up more points. Actually, I think they literally have put up more points in all of their other games and looked far more competent in all of their other games. That Niners offense had 17 points. That's it with Brock. They're a better offense than they showed in Seattle. The Steelers, they look fine in the games they don't play the Seahawks. Steelers moving the ball. I don't know what they did today. No, they beat the Browns. What did they put up today? 23. That's a good Browns defense, by the way. They looked better than they did against the Seahawks. Who else they beat? The Cardinals. The Cardinals aren't very good. However, they are a better offense than they were against the Seahawks. What they put up today? I bet you it was more than they scored against the Seahawks.
27, I believe.
27 on the Colts today in Indy with Jacoby Brissett. I forgot Kyler's out. That's 27 with their backup against one of the best teams in the league. My point is that what Mike McDonald has been good at, Bucs game notwithstanding, is making the opponent's offense look worse than it is. Trevor Lawrence and them are not 12 points a game bad. Even if their kicker let's say their kicker is competent, they're not 14 points a game bad. This is an offense that's probably going to average like 23 points a game, would be my guess, what they'd be much closer to. Like Donald has this thing. He finds out what you're good at, finds out what you're bad at. And then he tries to take away the good thing and make you have to beat you with the bad thing. Like he's very good at that. And he did it again. That's his superpower. That's what he did to the Seahawks. The year they had the best defense in the league, 2023, that's what he was doing. He shut down that Niners offense, shut down the Jags offense, shut down the Lions offense, shut down the Seahawks. These were good offenses that year. That's his. We could go into some details later, but that's like generally his secret right there. Like he can make you look as good as you, like not as good as you are. And sometimes he won't, right? Like the Bucs did their thing. They looked great. And in 2023, the Rams went to Baltimore and looked just fine against Mike Macdonald. It's 17 games. You're not going to be the Legion of Boom every week, right? But 9 times out of 10, you can count on Mike Macdonald to like take whatever the offense is, however many offensive points they average or whatever, and bring them down a notch. That's impressive, you know? Like, and so yes, how impressive was it? Very much. It's very impressive. Because I wasn't sure he'd be able to do that with the back end that he had, and the front without D-Hall, and I didn't know what they were going to be able to get from D-Law. Yeah, that's not easy to do. It's not easy to do, but that's what the really high-end defensive coordinators can do, and he was able to get that done. Like, Trevor Lawrence, I'm not high on Trevor Lawrence, but he's better than what we saw today. Like Chris said, he's missing passes. He threw some ones today that was all right, like the one Brian Thomas dropped, and then Travis Hunter negating kind of a fluky ball to Brian. But Chris, I don't know how Travis lined up that far off sides. It's like a full yard.
Wasn't paying attention, clearly. That was crazy.
He was looking the wrong way and everything.
I'm like, bruh, your whole entire foot is over the line, and that line is unofficial, so you're really offsides. So yeah, that's
that ball probably should have got picked though by
Josh Jobe was right there. He just unlucky. If that happened to Reek, they'd be ready to cut him.
Yes, they would. But they had some good slow motion today. Josh getting his head around late too.
That coverage on Travis was magnificent. That's exactly what you wanted to do. I mean, I thought he could have had a pick, but you know, it is what it is. He was right there. He didn't give up. Travis had no shot of catching. How about that? That's all you could ask for.
Yeah, and it wasn't a PI because he got his head around to locate the ball. You know, just like he did on the one that got tipped to Brian Thomas. So, and then somehow give up a touchdown to Tim Patrick. So random, Tim Patrick.
Well, that was he thought it was a sack. I think he was. Yeah, it was a scramble drill, and Tim Patrick won. I won't put too much on him there. It's tough to cover for about 4 seconds.
It is. And we've got a big enough sample now to know that Josh is like he's not just going to keep giving those up. Yeah, very similar to Spoon against Marvin in week 4.
Exactly.
Yeah, it was very impressive today, and I imagine we will see that again against Houston.
Brian Lindy with love, Witherspoon and Woolen all out. Can you break down what you thought of the DBs, the backup DBs? Solid performance or lucky for Jags receivers drops and Lawrence just having off-target passes?
I have to watch the film to really, really know. But I don't think the Seahawks have a bunch of guys that can't cover. They've got guys who can cover. They've got guys with some decent speed. They've got guys with decent ball skills. They've got guys who are physical. You don't see, like, the guys who played today, you don't really see them getting, like, pushed around. And I mean, like, pushed off the top of their route and stuff like that. Getting, like, jump ball, beat, you know. You just don't see them, like, getting drastically outplayed, the guys that they played today. Even, like, Ty Okada, I think he gave up a catch today. I forget to who. Got stiff arm, too. That was a bad play. Like, if your worst guy is Ty, you know, you can get by because Ty's not a bad player. I just, even against the Bucs, I just think him and Job weren't on the same page. I don't think it was like a you stink type of thing. And that showed up today. Like, guys were on the same page. It was hard for them to throw the ball around, you know? Even one of those fourth downs, like Trevor threw a bunch of YOLO balls today. Like, it probably should have got picked. He threw a fourth down across his body to Hunter Long. Yeah, I'm like, oh boy. Like, he threw for, what did he throw for? Yeah, 258. Like, it's a good day, but it wasn't, 42 attempts. Yeah, that's not moving. That's 6 yards. 6 yards pop. That's not nothing. So I have to really watch. Maybe that'll be my one big thing. But I just think generally watching it live, watching some of the replays, watching the broadcast before we recorded just now, like um, the Seahawks got guys that can cover. They got good DBs. They got DBs that play their technique. You're seeing them get their head around. You're seeing them understand what coverages they're supposed to do. Flying to the ball. All their guys like to hit. You even saw Shaq sticking his nose in there today. Even Warrior likes to hit. Kobe love to hit.
He started
I
off
was
the game
smacking.
hitting.
Yeah, both games. Last two games. I think
Yeah.
Kobe's
First
had a
play.
TFL on the first drive of the last two games. From the safety spot. So I think that's what it is. Like I think that's why it benefited, at least according to Shaq, that they were like, all right, let's simplify this. Let's just be better than these guys from across from us. And that was it. Especially they probably realized they only got one dude that can beat us. It's Brian Thomas. That was it. Brian Thomas had 8 catches for 90 yards. The next was Parker Washington, 29 yards on 2 catches. That's it. That's the next leading receiver. Now, granted, Seahawks distribution don't look much better, but their offense is better. It is. So yeah, that's my first impression on the Seahawks DBs being shorthanded today. They got dudes. I don't think they're like desperate for help and more talented players. Once they heal up, they'll be even better, obviously. But as long as they got the pass rush, I think the dudes they put back there will be fine because they can cover. Not to say that they're all Darrelle Revis, but yeah, I don't think you're going to see a ton of players where guys are just getting cooked. That's just really not this secondary. Carl Scott, Jeff Howard, their safeties coach, is coaching them boys up really well. And when push comes to shove, they can cover. It takes really good plays to be able to beat them. That's probably the best play Tim Patrick's going to have all year. I'm almost guaranteed of that. It feels very 2019 John Rossi. Where you're like, okay, he had that day, and then that's it. It's the rest of his season. It's not going to be anything like that.
This next one is from Joey. Team #NeverKick. Myers was good, but previous weeks he had some misses. Why do you think the Seahawks have been so lenient with him? Because they ain't got no other kickers?
Yeah. See, you think it's hard to find edge rushers and DBs. Go try to find a kicker right now. It's so weird. It's like there's some of these kickers who can boot it from 60, and then there's some dudes that just don't got it. Shoot, didn't the Jags kicker make one from 70 in the preseason?
Yeah,
that was him, right?
He made it. Yeah, and then he couldn't make a kick to save his life today or Sunday against the Seahawks.
What did he miss? Both?
He missed the extra point, and then he missed the field goal from like 50.
Yeah, and then they just stopped kicking. They were just like, no, now we just have to go for it. Yeah, I mean, oof, yeah, that's brutal. Did J-Maya miss today? J-Maya didn't miss today.
No, he didn't miss.
So.
He's last week. Why are the Seahawks being so lenient? The biggest thing is there's no one available. I mean, there's a reason why guys are cut. Jake Moody's a perfect example.
Yeah, he was bad. But I also think it's a sample size thing. Like they got enough to know that J-Maya can kick. It's not like he's not Blair Walsh, right? Now he does need to get his percentage up. He's only at 78.6. Yeah. So not great. But I mean, among the guys who have kicked as often as him, yeah, I mean, that's a starting caliber kicker, roughly. This rankings are thrown off because there's some guys who have only kicked like 3 times. So I'd have to filter it. But yeah, it's a sample size. J-Ma's been good enough. But yeah, like Chris said, it ain't like there's a bunch of just nails kickers out there. And the kicking market is tough. Your guy's either serviceable or he's not. And some of these guys can go from like the dude to being out real quick. That Young Wei Koo fall off was tough. It was tough. He used to be the guy. I used to pick him every year in fantasy. Every league, every year. Now this year I was like, I'm not touching that guy. So
Young Wei who?
Yeah. Oh wow, that's good. Young Wei who? That's a good one. But yeah, so I think that's part of it. But I also think Jay's a good kicker. But like Chris said, even if he wasn't, ain't that much out there right now.
We got a few more, Mike. This is from Chris Lee. Will you be asking the bosses to let you cover a game from one of those pools next time you're in Jacksonville?
Yo, so I didn't realize that Jacksonville has like in the 300-ish level 2 like swim, like basically like infinity pool type setups that people actually get in. They actually take their clothes off and get in the pool during the game and watch. There's 2 of them on the opposite side. It'll be like the equivalent of there's that truck on top of Lumen Field, like it's like the Toyota something on the north end zone. There's one there, and then it'd be like if there was a pool on top of where they raised the flag, the 12-man flag. Imagine if there was a pool up there. That's that is weird. Y'all just the only way that would be cool, because I know it's South Florida, I get it. But one, if you're gonna do that, it needs to be down on the end zone. Like it needs to be like premium seating. Why am I half naked in the 300 level? That's weird. If I'm gonna be like jacuzzi style bottle service, try to make it like a Dre's Vegas nightclubby vibe, then I need to be at the field level. I need to be right there at the end zone. They score, I get the ball, that type of thing. The same thing they got at Husky Stadium too. And I think that's the south end zone of Husky Stadium. A little premium seating there. You have to do it like that. If you don't, otherwise it's dumb, like it is there. And just in general, the pool thing is just is weird. I don't think. Why? Why would you do that? It's just other ways to get premium seating. How much does that cost? Are you paying extra to go swimming at the game? Like I'm not. Yeah, that was weird. So yeah, no, I will not. It took me 13 hours to get here on Saturday. So I'm glad. I checked this stadium off my little list of stadiums that I've been to. I think I only have 3 left to get to check off the whole league. And yeah, I'm good. I'm good on Jacksonville. I do not need to come back here. At least not until they finish the stadium, because can't even get in this damn thing because it's under construction. But yeah, no, Mike will not do that. Mike also can't swim. So there's that.
Last one comes from Coffee Dad. Mike, what was the post-game meal in the press box?
What was the post-game meal? Okay. I know the breakfast. Oh, the breakfast was good. It was like some salmon, some potatoes. I knocked that back. Halftime was sliders. I don't eat red meat, so I didn't get down on the sliders, but they look good though. There was something else there. I think they had like a hot dog station, and they had these little donut, basically like a donut ball, like a churro ball. If you guys had a churro, it's like a churro ball. Kind of looked like a hush puppy a little bit. Those was good. And then what was it was pizza. That's what it was at halftime. I didn't eat the pizza. It didn't look good. Matt Calkins of the Seattle Times came up, told me they had pizza. I was like, is it some commercial pizza or like some local pizza? Because usually when I'm on the road, I've noticed that teams like to have their own pizza, like whatever the style is regionally, and it is a miss. Yeah, I'm good. I'm good on all that, unless it's Chicago style, because that is fire. These other styles, I'm good on that. So I didn't try the pizza. It didn't look good. I saw some of them guys eating it. Overall, though, decent press box food. I thought, like, walking into the stadium, I was like, this place is a dump. I'm going to have to eat on the concourse. And then I went down, saw the salmon, saw the potatoes. I was like, okay, this is a real establishment in some regards. And then we were okay. So that was fine. I don't know where it ranks on my press box food. Not super low. It was okay. It was probably right in the middle in terms of food. Lumen is up there for what it's worth. I don't know how much we've talked about that recently, but Lumen's up there. MetLife is high. SoFi is usually pretty good. The new stadiums are up there. Dallas always has a good spread. Oh my God, they should play the Cowboys every year. Anyway, not a food pod, but yeah, I think it was just pizza post game. Most post game spreads are usually pretty basic. It's like sandwiches, pizza, just something you can grab and go. Whereas they know when you're sitting down and you're going to be at the game, they usually like something you need a knife and fork for. Some pastas, some something. I tell you this though, before we move on to the last thing. State Farm Stadium, the Arizona, that's by far the worst. It's like they don't even have a food budget. You're better off just bringing some McDonald's in. It's awful every year. Only good thing in there, they have an ice cream machine. Or no, they just have ice cream in there, not even a machine. That's it. Their coffee sucks. They got popcorn in there. But yeah, it's just awful. That's by far the worst one. It's Arizona. Everywhere else is like edible. But in Arizona, I always got to make a note, eat before I go, because that's trash. But yeah, Jacksonville was fine. Stadium, yeah. Pool, yeah. Food, decent.
Well, there you have it. We appreciate all the voicemails, all the questions from Blue Sky and Twitter. Appreciate all the love and support. Make sure you follow us, Seahawks Man to Man, on TikTok and on Instagram. And also, Mike has a book out. Mike, tell them about your book. And also, I believe you have a shout out for a couple of folks.
Yes. Do I have my book handy? Oh no, I sold them all. Yeah, shout out to I brought some
Flex.
books with me. Yeah, I brought some books with me, and I ended up selling them. So shout out first to Kyle. Yeah, Chris has got the book, The Franchise of Seattle Seahawks: A Curated History of the Legion of Boom Era, available wherever books are sold. And as people find out, I bring it with me on the road too. So I think the next road city is DC. I'm gonna make sure I got some books with me. But shout out to Kyle. Bought a book for me on Saturday and gave me a gift along with it. Bought it for his brother. So shout out to you. Nice to meet you and your girlfriend on Saturday. And also, there's one more shout out to Zach. Shout out to Zach as well. Met up at the game, took a flick, signed a book, signed books for both of them. Man, much love to you guys. It means the world to to be what am I 3,000 miles from home or something like that, and have
Yeah.
people interested in the book. And I think Kyle was buying it for his brother, Zach for himself. But that's cool, man. I really appreciate you guys. Appreciate the love meeting, you, even though it's brief. And I think at least in Zach's case, Zach wanted to tell you this, Chris. Zach's a big fan of the pod as well. So shout out to Zach. So yeah, if you guys, whether you're at Lumen or you're on the road, I think DC, Nashville, I'm going to Charlotte, LA, San Fran, Atlanta, any of these trips, man. If you guys are there, let me know. You meet me at the hotel, meet me at the stadium. I will sign your book, chop it up, take a flick. It's cool, man. Have a drink, depending on where we are. So appreciate all that love. So thank you. Shout out to Zach and Kyle. And until next time, Seahawks Man to Man podcast. Make sure you guys go like, subscribe, review on everything. Apple Pods, Spotify, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram. Do all that. We will come back to you. Yes, midweek pod, one big thing. And we're going to have a Texans preview with my homie, DJ Bienemy, covers the Texans for ESPN. It's the homie, knows a lot about the Texans. It's going to be a big game of Monday Night Football. Until then, enjoy the week. Have fun. The game's on right now still. Cool. Go Mariners. Catch you guys later in the week.